What's the craziest thing your ex has ever done during your relationship or after you broke up? Nothing. All my exes were very sane. My ex once threw a glass at my head during an argument. Raped me. Tried to break up with him. Didn't hear from him for hours, drove by his house, no car. I get a call late at night, him in tears saying he jumped off a cliff and broke his leg. Lied about having an STD to get me to talk to him. Threatened suicide if I didn't talk to him. Followed me at my job delivering pizzas. Every time I'd block him on social media, he'd make a new account and message me. Jumped into a frozen pond to prove something about fear? It was in college. I got mad. Walked him back to my dorm to get him his backpack and sent him off to get dry and warm on his own. Edit, to clarify, this was while I was breaking up with him. During cheated multiple times even though I have evidence. His reason? He's bored and they are close. Plus he never asked for my consent. After had with one of my friends while trying to win me back. They look at there, before they flush? Sure. You should check to see if there's blood in it. Yep. It's funny. I want to know how much I. Ask it in German. You'll have tons of reply. One should always look at their own. It can tell you a wealth of information. At what point in a relationship do you expect to be made a priority in your so's life? I'd expect my partner to be able to make time for and so before we start dating. Otherwise, why look for a serious relationship? I would want my partner to have a good balance for our relationship and the other things going on in their lives. If they haven't seen a group of friends in a while, I wouldn't expect them to spend time with me all the time. You gotta have balance. I was made a priority by my Lautner before we were in a relationship. That's how it became a relationship. Basically, don't expect things to get better than they are at the beginning. The beginning is where we have our walls up and put our best foot forward. To be honest, I'd expect to see that before entering a relationship, in the dating/getting to know each other phase. Not that I have to be number one priority, but they need to be willing to make space for me in their life. For me, that would look something like spending time together a couple of times a week, including at least 2 weekends a month. Obviously there are times when life gets in the way, but I would expect someone to try to make time for me from the start. I don't feel that this is a scale waiting to be tipped. In what I would consider a healthy relationship, both partners, or all partners, should understand that personal time and space, as well as work, and time with friends or family, are all important, and that there will always need to be a balance to stay healthy. There will be ebbs and flows in how much time is dedicated where. But that is normal. What's important is always checking back in with each other. Clear, honest communication is always key. What are the things? If we are talking about development, then a man should strive for development. And girls too. My young man aspired to become a marketer, and I pursued my hobbies and work. We supported and helped each other. And after a year we decided to get married. Because we felt that we love and support each other. We saw each other 1 to 3 times a week. But we really wanted to see each other more often. Depends on what other kinds of priorities they have in life. If they have kids, I would never expect to come before them. Honestly, priority in itself seems like a dangerous word. I would never expect to be somebody's number one priority all of the time. I would like that they put in an effort to spend time with me. Sure. But there are times when friends need to be a priority. Family. Work. Oneself. Really, it's about balance. How old does someone have to be considered old? In your opinion? Your answer will change as you get older. When I was 18 I thought anyone over 30 was old. But then you get there and realize you still feel like a kid. I'm 38 now and recently I found myself debating whether or not 60 was old. If we're just talking about physical appearance, I'd say somewhere between 63 to 70. My parents are in that range and I didn't really start seeing them as old until the last few years. But I think one of the secrets of life is that people feel like kids forever, regardless of how old they are. Some are better at pretending to be adults than others and forget. But I think if you have certain attitudes toward life you feel like that forever. Used to think after 30 you were old. 23 BTW. I had in mind people that were around who were doing nothing. Letting the days pass. Not having dreams. Not trying to improve themselves, etc. Now if you can go online you can find people that are 40, 50 plus and they are out there learning new things and challenging themselves. They look younger, healthier and happier. So if you don't let yourself go mentally and physically, in my books you are younger than many despite age. That answer is very situational and arbitrary. Ask a 5-year-old and they'll likely say anyone over 16. Ask an 16-year-old and they'll likely say anyone over 35. Ask a 60-year-old and they might say anyone over 80. How the individual ages is important too. A 50-year-old, healthy and active individual might not describe themselves as old. But a 50-year-old with chronic joint problems might describe themselves that way. Hope this helps. It is subjective. I've always felt like I was younger. Born too early. Most of my friends are younger than I am. It shocked me when I realized my parents were considered elderly and quad. My dad was 26. Mom 22 when I was born. I didn't have my first child until I was 40. I don't feel like I look my age. But I also have terrible judgment of pretty much anyone when it comes to guessing ages. I saw a picture of one of my classmates throughout grade school and high school the other day. And not only didn't recognize her. Thought she looked 60. She's 3 months younger than me. I'm 48. If money was not an issue, What would you do right now? Pay off the stressful bills / finish the annoying projects around the house. Then wash my neighborhood's windows, free of charge if I could. So many people don't realize how dirty the windows get. I like to think cleaning windows brings people back to a past self when they first got the house. Nostalgic feelings. Plan a trip to Tasmania and spend like a year searching for a thylacine. I know they are extinct and I know the sightings are just people seeing what they want to see / cultural regret for hunting them to extinction, but there is the smallest part of me that has a shred of hope they might still be alive. Quit my job. Take a 6-month sabbatical. And figure out what I want to do with my life. Context: I'm junior partner at a large law firm with a somewhat successful telecommunications practice. But I don't really have any passion for what I'm doing. Help every single person I came across, no matter how small of a story. Everybody deserves a cut if it's unlimited. Never tell them my name nor let them see you in my face, just let them know there is love in this world. Cut my hours at work. I could not work. I love going to work. I just hate the idea that I have to work 8 to 10 hour shifts 6 days a week to just be able to survive financially with little money left over to do things like traveling. Quit work. Take a bit of time off. Buy a nice home for my pup and I and bring a Dalmatian into the family. Buy a nice car, because they bring me immense joy. Look into starting one of my helping others ideas and enroll in college / university for topics I want to learn. AI, computer hacking, astronomy, cocaine and hookers at first. Right from the start. When I get sober after 2 or 5 weeks I would buy a house, and at the time the house is restored I'll have a long vacation starting in Japan. Over America. The norths of Europe. Africa safari and then back to Austria. Not an issue. Like I could buy whatever I want, have unlimited funds. 1. Pay off all my debt. 2. Pay off all the debts of my 3 friends. 3. Pay off my parents' debts. 4. Move to somewhere tropical and buy my forever home. 5. Dedicate 20 hours a week to community service. Spend the rest of my time getting in shape. Learning an instrument. Learn a second language. Does anybody else have like zero sexual drive? Yep. I used to be, constantly. And now poof. No more. At all. Maybe asexual. Could also be an external factor. It comes and goes but is absent most of the time. Yup. Mostly don't miss it. It was awful having what felt like a strong drive without anyone to help release it. Sexless marriage. Makes trying to find a new companion difficult. Though. Women who love kids but don't want to raise your own. How did you come to that decision? Ladies, in life I got 3 siblings back to back, and looking at my mom, she never seemed happy or excited to raise her children. She was always stressed and mad, and majority of the time I was her emotional punching bag as the oldest daughter. I was supposed to take weight of her shoulders while I was just 8 and 9 when my sisters were born. Looking at small children I get happy and find them cute, but I don't see any joy in raising them, only suffering. If I had seen my mom happy at least once with her children it might have been another story. I was very sure I didn't want kids, but marrying my husband makes me question sometimes. Second marriage for both. He has 2 children. Sometimes I daydream about a little one looking like us, but then adding another kid to the mix seems so complicated that I'm still on the no and quad. Also, I just turned 40, so maybe it's just all too late. My other reasons for not having a kid are my independence and freedom. The current state of the world. Not having family around, I moved to a different country and I'm alone here. Maybe I am not cut for motherhood and there is no turning back after you have a kid. Firstly, I watched a lot of birthing videos growing up cause of my mother and in health class. I don't really like the idea of being responsible for another person inside me. It's way too much and I can barely handle keeping myself healthy, let alone another smaller human. Second, it's just cause while I do love kids, the idea of raising them simply isn't for me. I like animals. But even they're too much sometimes. I usually like peace and quiet, and I find I'm enjoying myself the most when I'm just home alone with music or mango or whatever else. But usually I just like being left to my own devices. I love my little cousins. I've changed most of their diapers. Bottle fed them. Helped potty train them. I'm the oldest cousin and the default babysitter. So I have no issue with being able to take care of a baby, toddler, young child, whatever. I plan to go into a career that will have me working 60+ hour weeks and teaching myself new information outside of those hours. I don't particularly like cooking or cleaning, and the idea of staying home all the time taking care of kids, cleaning, having to make dinner and pack school lunches and track everything. It sounds like misery to me.